We are examining the fundamental differences between lien theory and title theory for the national portion of the real estate exam. This distinction is vital because it determines who holds the actual deed to a property during the life of a loan and how a lender can reclaim that property if the borrower stops making payments. In a lien theory state, the borrower, who is the mortgagor, retains both legal and equitable title. The lender, which is the mortgagee, only holds a lien against the property. This means that on paper, the homeowner is the absolute owner, and the lender interest is purely financial and secondary to the owner title. If a borrower defaults in a lien theory state, the lender cannot simply take the house. They must go through a judicial foreclosure process, which involves filing a lawsuit in court and proving the default occurred so a judge can order a public auction. This process is generally slower and provides more protection for the borrower. When the loan is finally paid off, the lender issues a document called a satisfaction of mortgage, which is recorded to show the world that the lien has been removed. Now we contrast this with title theory states where the legal title is actually held by the lender or a neutral third party known as a trustee. In these states, the borrower only holds equitable title, which represents their right to use the property and their right to eventually gain full legal ownership. Because the lender or trustee already holds the legal title, they do not need to ask a court for permission to foreclose. Instead, they use a non-judicial foreclosure process, often triggered by a power of sale clause found in the deed of trust. This makes the foreclosure process much faster and less expensive than the judicial route. Once a loan is paid off in a title theory state, the trustee issues a deed of reconveyance, which officially transfers the legal title from the trustee back to the borrower. A common exam trap involves confusing who holds which title in each scenario. You might see a question asking which party holds legal title in a state that uses deeds of trust. Since deeds of trust are the primary instrument in title theory states, the answer would be the trustee or the lender. Another trick is the term equitable title. Always remember that the borrower has equitable title in both systems. It is the legal title that shifts depending on the theory. To keep this straight for exam day, you can use the mental shortcut that lien is for the owner, legal title. The letter L in lien matches the L in legal title for the borrower. If it is not a lien theory state, then the lender has the title. You should also be prepared to identify the specific documents used for releasing the debt. In a lien theory state, you are looking for a satisfaction of mortgage, while in a title theory state, you are looking for a deed of reconveyance. Understanding these mechanics is essential because the exam will often describe a scenario where a borrower defaults and ask what the next step is. If the scenario specifies it is a title theory state, the next step involves the power of sale, whereas in a lien theory state, the next step is filing a lawsuit for judicial foreclosure. One more detail to watch for is the defeasance clause. This is the specific clause in the mortgage or deed of trust that requires the lender to release their interest once the loan is paid. In a title theory state, the defeasance clause is what forces the lender to give the title back. In a lien theory state, it forces the lender to cancel the lien. This clause is the bridge that moves the borrower from having just equitable title to having full fee simple ownership. Finally, remember that lien theory states often feature a statutory right of redemption, which allows a borrower to buy back their property even after the foreclosure sale has occurred. Recognizing these patterns will help you navigate the trickiest phrasing on the national exam.